This episode is brought to you by Katie Kelly. Drop the beat. Her name is Katie Kelly, but don't get jelly. Her and me, we watch a lot of telly, like 60 Minutes with Scott Pelley, or listening to Sick Beats by Nelly. Don't worry, though, she ain't smelly. Yo, she lost her boot, y'all. Where's her welly? Katie Kelly. Katie Kelly. So, this is Tim Burton's first movie, his first film. It was made in 1985, which was a whole year before I was born.
That's crazy. Even watching this today, it doesn't seem that old. Talk about holding up well.
Yeah, I suppose.
What makes you think it's dated?
Some of the clothes, there's a lot of BMX bikes, which...
So 1985.
Or like 80s, 90s, they were big, but like there's so many BMX bikes in this, right?
I guess.
There's a lot.
I mean, the Pee-wee brand is just like weird shit, so I think it is going to be weird. No, yes, timeless. No matter what, it's going to be weird and never fit in. But, so created in 1985, Tim Burton's first film, starring the one and only Paul Rubens.
I was going to say Pee-wee Herman.
I think that's a little obvious by the title.
Well, I don't know.
All right, let's go with the quick, sweetie, 2-minute summary. Go.
2 minutes? That's not very quick. Okay. Pee-wee Herman loves his bicycle. His bicycle is the best thing in the whole world. One day, his bicycle gets stolen. Pee-wee is very upset. He's traumatized. He's so upset. He goes on a wild hunt to find it. He accuses his not friend but acquaintance Francis Buxton of stealing it.
Buxton.
Francis is like, I didn't take your dumb bike. But he did. And then he freaks out and he tells his creepy Slick Rick friend to get rid of it. So off it goes. Pee-wee goes to a psychic and the psychic says, oh, it's in Texas at the Alamo in the basement. So Pee-wee goes to Texas and goes on a long adventure to Texas, where he finally gets to the Alamo and finds out there's no basement in the Alamo.
No basement in the Alamo.
Should we spoil it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think people have seen it.
Well, I don't know. Let's
31 years old, this movie.
Let's just say that through his adventures, he ends up finding his bicycle. All is well. Plus, they decide to make a Hollywood movie out of his experiences. Pretty amazing. What else did I miss in that summary? That's pretty much it. Yeah. I just want to say that in 9th grade, the assignment was pick an example of a hero's journey and present it to the class. People were like, oh, I'm going to pick something obvious like this or that. And I was like, guys, I'm doing Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And you know what? It was the perfect fit. It's the perfect hero's journey.
What'd you get on that paper?
Probably an A.
Yeah.
I don't know. Creative. And then I brought the movie in and showed clips like about like the things. Like That's amazing. I forget the actual steps of the hero's journey, but it fit perfectly as I recall.
So basically it's like the Odyssey.
Mm-hmm. That's why we did it, because we were reading the Odyssey at the time. And then we were doing examples of that. So, yeah. So it was a pretty good example. But it's an amazing movie. It's hilarious. Literally every part of this is so laugh out loud. This movie is so important to us. And how we view humor and why we think certain things are funny. It's basically all from this movie, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. And obviously we named our podcast after it. A very crucial scene in this movie is Pee-wee is left in the middle of the desert and flags down a tractor trailer driven by the one, the only, Large Marge.
Large Marge.
And she tells that awesome story about a night just like tonight. And then I remember this distinctly watching this as a child. That part where her face bugs out when she's telling the story and like, this is what the body looked like, and it's like a cartoon face. I always fast forwarded that part, much like I fast forwarded the part in the Neverending Story where the horse dies. this was my childhood, can't handle this.
See, I strategically would leave the room at that point. I'd be like,
good like that.
I'd be like, oh, I forgot my glass of water, and then I'd like trickle out and before it would happen. So, but there's actually several things in this movie are very scary. Still to this day, I get a little uneasy. I'll tell you the spots. Number 1. Well, all the clowns. There's several clowns in this. Why so many clowns?
Okay, let's
go through it.
Let's go through all the clowns.
Well, Pee-wee decides to chain his bicycle up to the scariest looking clown animatronic moving thing I've ever seen in my life. It has dirty orange hair. It's very upsetting. He changes bicycle to that, and then when he comes back and the bicycle is gone, the clown has the scary...
It's changed to scary, like what people are scared, why people are scared of clowns.
Yeah.
That's scary clown.
So that's clown number 1. Mm-hmm. Number 2, we don't see the front of this clown, but when he's all upset about the bicycles and everybody around him is on a bicycle, a clown goes by on a bicycle. Okay. Number 3, which is a long shot, it's sort of rodeo clowns. You don't really see them, but I know they're there.
Okay.
Number 4, this is the worst. The clown dream, which is so terrifying. Yeah. Still to this day.
I'm not even scared of clowns, and those are pretty creepy clowns.
One of the guy clowns has these like little pointy teeth.
Yeah. I mean, he's like an it.
Yep. And then it's like, and then the way that his mouth is drawn, it's like in a little V. It's very scary. And then the doctor operating on the bicycle in the dream pulls his mask down, and there's it's scary. Yeah, it's like
tattooed, scary mouth.
I thought it was just like clown makeup. No. It's tattooed. Damn.
I think it's supposed to look tattooed.
Oh. Yeah. Well, anyways, what the fuck? Why are there so many clowns in this, Tim Burton?
I don't know, Tim Burton. He's got a clown thing.
I don't know if there is...
What's the fear of clowns? Like, scientific name?
I don't know.
Scary clownophobia?
No, it's something like more scientific sounding, but...
Obviously,
but yeah, so aside from that, so clown, number 1, biggest part of this that freaked me out, still freaks me out a little bit today. Also scary part is when he's in the magic shop and the guy, Mario, brings out all the heads and then that really big head comes out. That scared the crap out of me when I was little. I don't know why. I think it was the noise that freaked me out because it's so sudden.
Does he go, because he goes, shrunken head, and then he goes,
no thanks.
Regular size, and then the regular one. And then the big one comes out, and does he go, extra large? Or does he go, whoa?
Yeah, he doesn't say it. He goes, whoa!
And then he doesn't say, extra large.
No. Don't think so.
It's like when you watch a movie way too many times, you just start making stuff up about it, I guess. Like what you want to see.
Totally. Like when we thought Simone was a guy.
Yep. I thought Simone. So Simone is, Pee-wee gets left at this diner. Large Marge drops him off. And then
in her ghost truck.
Yeah, in the ghost truck. And then he, where did he leave his wallet?
At the psychic.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Pretty sure.
So he leaves at the psychic, and then he has to he had a tuna melt and milkshake for dinner. Disgusting combination. I do say so. And he has to wash dishes because they don't have any money. Which, watching this movie as a kid, I was like, whoa, is that what happens to you? You have to wash dishes if you can't pay for shit?
I think that's like an old thing that maybe used to happen.
Well, no one had debit cards.
Sure, yeah. So, if you didn't have cash, what did you do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They wouldn't just, I guess, they'd make you wash dishes. Yeah.
Oh,
so anyway, so she's this waitress and gives him some extra cash, and then they go watch the sunset from the dinosaurs. It sounds like ridiculous to explain. Every plot point of this movie sounds ridiculous to say out loud.
But we're talking about Simone. I swear she's
she
like a
manly.
little bit of an Adam's apple. There's something happening there.
She's a little manly. She's a low voice.
She does.
But I'm a female with a low voice.
Good bone structure. I think
she's beautiful.
That also, maybe tripped us up a little bit as children. But yeah, but actually, interesting segue because several things in this movie we did not understand until we got older. I feel like. Realizing that Simone was in fact a woman, maybe it was one of them. Yep. Another one for me was, what was it? Oh, when Mickey, the escaped convict, picks him up in the car, and Pee-wee's like, "What'd you do?" Because he notices he has handcuffs that have been sawed off, but he still has the little handcuffs on. And Mickey starts telling him the story, and he's like, "Well, I took a knife, and then he sees Pee-wee's scared little face, and he changes his story, but to be, you know those labels on the mattresses that say, 'Do not remove under penalty of law'? I took one, and I cut one off. I used to think that was legitimately what he was in jail for, and I didn't get it until a few years back. Well, maybe, I don't know, when I was an adult and started paying attention to things.
To this day, I still do not take tags off of pillows or mattresses.
Is that what it means? Does that mean before you buy it? Yes. Okay. Right? You can you take the tag off of
if you already bought it, who cares?
Can you take the tag off of anything before you bought it?
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Why was it ever a law?
Maybe we should look into it. We'll look into it later.
That's still a weird thing.
We'll update you later.
Even though this movie's 30 years old, we still have no idea. One part that I didn't get was at the end, they're showing the movie at the drive-in, and he buys snacks for everybody that he met throughout his adventure. They all come to the movie. And then, so this also goes in with Mickey. He gets to Mickey, who's in this big bus. Apparently they let him out of prison to go see this movie. And Pee-wee buys him a footlong and gives it to him and winks. And inside the footlong is a file to, like, file off his handcuffs.
I thought it was a little saw.
Or like a file, whatever. So I thought, and then so he hands the footlong over to Mickey in the bus, and this cop's like, whoa, hold on, because he sees the file and takes out the hot dog. I thought someone had just left a straw in the hot dog by accident, and the cop was being really nice because Mickey was going to eat the straw that was mistakenly left in the hot dog. That's ridiculous.
You're such a nice person.
I know
that you would think that.
I know. I'm so naive. I still am, but if I am naive now, I was like 20 times more naive as a child.
Sure,
obviously.
There's a lot of things that are hidden beneath. I mean, this isn't a kids' movie. No.
It is because it's wacky,
right?
But
in some ways,
Wee Herman was never like that. Character was a kid's thing, but it was one of those things almost where adults would be in on the joke on a different level.
Right. I think there's several adult-themed jokes.
Oh my God, so many. Let's talk about your big butt, Simone. I love that one.
Okay, but what's the deal with Dottie though? Like, is Pee-wee? He's not gay.
I think he's asexual.
Yeah. He's just denying those advances. But then at the end, he like gives in and goes to the drive-in with her and she gets all dressed up. But like, there was never anything romantic there.
No, and even with Simone, like, that's why she liked him and confided in him so much because they were just friends.
But in Big Top Pee-wee, he has this like terrifying romantic relationship with the circus performer. Which is like
they make out.
Yeah, it's very upsetting.
Yeah, that's why that movie was not successful, because I don't think you should be seeing Pee Wee Herman as anything to do with sex. And ironically, that's what got him like busted, right? Because of the dropping his pants in like a porno movie theater or something.
He was masturbating in a porno movie, which is what I thought everybody did in those.
I'm pretty sure he was caught at what everyone does anyway, but because he was famous,
maybe
they must have like exposed him. Whatever, he made a comeback. Go Pee-wee. Go Paul Rubens.
But it's so funny. What's your favorite part? There's so many to choose from.
Well, there's so many. Like, so this movie for us, I think, as Andre just said, we quote like pretty much the entire movie on a daily basis since we've seen this movie.
Let's give some examples of how we use these quotes on a daily basis. Okay,
a really good one that we've been doing for. Actually, not as long. Sort of like a newish one. So, wait, I'm like drawing a blank what it is now, but you know what it is.
Good for you.
Yes. Okay. So I'll explain it. So you say this thing where him and Francis had this amazing back and forth thing. Like, right, it's the very beginning of the movie, right when he meets, and Francis is like, "It's my birthday," blah, blah, blah. And, like, my father said I could have whatever I want. And Pee-wee goes, "Good for you and your father." So Andre and I say that all the time when someone, like, says something. It doesn't even have to be anything, like, mean or anything. They're just like, "Oh, like, I did this today." And we'll be like, "Good for you and your father." And it makes, like, no sense at all in random context. And the second part of the story is that we told this. I was on vacation with my mom, and I told her this story, and she
tried to be hip.
She tried to be hip and use it, thinking like all the kids were using it. And she goes, so she started using it or tried to use it, and she'd go, "Good
for your mother and your father.
Good for your mother and your father." Like, that sounds like Austin Powers.
She got it wrong.
Good for your father.
She got it, like, just a little bit wrong.
Yeah.
So,
it was adorable.
Oh, Carol, we love you.
Carol.
Love you. I also like to use... What else do I like to use? Just, I don't know. Just, like, everything. Things will just happen, and I'll just say something and laugh. And it'll be from this. So, whenever somebody's telling kind of a long... Or even just any story... We like to go, I love that story. Which works very well.
Also from that same Francis scene.
I know.
There's so much gold in that 2 minutes of dialogue, maybe. I Know You Are, But What Am I is from that, which is probably one of the most famous things to come out of this film.
Also, when I'm out on the streets walking by myself at night, I usually say to myself, every time I think... Sure is spooky out here. When he's stuck, when he's lost in the desert, you just see, like, his eyes. I love that part. Like, kitty?
It's like
a zoo.
A zoo. But one of them is, like, a stuffed bear.
They're all stuffed.
But, like, that looks... And it's, like, facing the wrong direction. It's just hilarious. It's, like, the most funny little touches in this film.
Man. Also, a metaphor that I continue to use throughout my life is... Whenever there's something I come across that I really don't want to do, or something that we always say we're going to do, but we never somehow do it, like we had the movie Inception in our apartment from Netflix back when it was just discs. We had that for maybe like 3 months, and we'd be like, what do you want to do tonight? Like, watch Inception? So
still have never seen that movie.
Yep, still haven't seen it. But so I like to say that those kinds of instances are saving the snakes instances, where you really don't want to do something and you keep putting it off and you're putting it off, you're putting it off. Then eventually you just got to save the snakes and do it. You really don't want to, but you begrudgingly do it. I love that scene so much. I love his facial expressions not just in that scene, in every scene, especially that scene. There's also the one where he's listening to Marge's story, and it's like he continues to get more and more freaked out and like I can't explain.
I mean, if you just really pay attention to his facial features during the whole film, you can.
He's
laugh.
He's a treasure. A treasure.
Yeah.
He's a treasure.
He's a treasure and a half. Let's talk about the scene, which is one of my favorites, where he's in the biker bar and he knocks over all their bikes and they're going to kill him. And he goes, "Don't I get a request?" And they're like, "Well, okay, sure." And he goes to the jukebox, puts on the tequila song, if is even what it's called. I have no idea.
I think it's just called tequila.
And this is the most random part, but probably my favorite. The dishwasher has these giant platform white shoes on. He borrows them and does this, and this was like a dance. People would do the Wee Herman dance.
Do you think it was like a shout out to something that we missed?
No. It's
that scene always made me feel like
specific and on point. And what is that dance?
It always made me feel like I was missing something,
Yep.
like I was missing a joke, and I feel stupid talking about it because I bet people are like, "Duh, it was a blah 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 blah."
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a good scene though.
Yeah,
really good.
It's
scene.
An awesome scene.
Really good scene.
What's your favorite scene, Andrea?
Ooh, God. I think the Francis Pee Wee confrontation has to be one of my all-time favorite scenes, or maybe exchanges between two characters. It's just so funny. I also enjoy the beginning scene, the breakfast scene. So Pee Wee's house is basically just like a playland of weird shit. There's so many weird things in his house. I took stills once to try to capture everything, and the stuff you find is unbelievable. Very weird. There's a scary ostrich in his room with these glowing red eyes. They're very scary. But he has this very crazy breakfast making machine that involves, among other things, a dinosaur skeleton that squeezes oranges, which is really just a Nerf ball but we'll say it's an orange. It's supposed to be an orange. Squeezes an orange to make orange juice.
Pterodactyl that flies the toast over to the toaster. Mm-hmm. Abraham Lincoln cooks the pancakes and flips them up to the ceiling. Which then they fall down.
Because who doesn't love ceiling pancakes? I love ceiling pancakes.
I don't know. Anyway, so this whole breakfast gets compiled for him. Oh, and this little egg cracker, because he eats eggs too. Mm-hmm. And this whole breakfast gets compiled for him, and then he proceeds to pour Mr. T cereal all over it, take 2 bites, and leave. Every time I watched this movie, I would be so upset that the delicious breakfast went uneaten.
It was 2 bites. He took
the biggest travesty in cinema I've ever seen.
No, until something upset it, though.
What, in this movie?
No, that, topped this not being able to eat something.
What?
Home Alone.
The macaroni and cheese.
Yes! He makes that delicious mac and cheese, which is actually disgusting.
We'll cover this at Christmas time.
And he sits down, he says a little prayer, and then...
Wait, it looks disgusting. It's like delicious Stouffer's mac and cheese.
Have you had it? Good. It's not very good.
Well, no.
Compared to normal standards, I don't think it's very good. But that scene makes me so mad, just like this one does. And it actually, and the Pee-wee scene makes so much sense because also in that scene, he has his scale, which says, what does it say? Perfect weight? No. Your weight, your actual weight or something.
Oh, well, I was thinking it just uses the numbers.
But it's only 97 pounds. Which makes sense because he only ever eats 2 bites of cereal in this
And you actually never see him... Well, I guess he ate the tuna melt and the milkshake, but other than that, you don't see him eat anything.
Who knows? Yeah. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, that's a good scene. I also enjoy the hobo in the train scene, which... I guess he just got sick of them.
Or he's so into it in the beginning.
And then he's just
they're singing all these funny, old American, what kind of songs? Folk songs?
Yeah, I guess.
Jimmy Crack Cone and I don't care. Jimmy Crack Cone and I don't care. Jimmy Crack Cone and I don't care. And then he jumps off. So good. So good.
So good.
You know what time it is?
IMDb trivia time?
Dun, da, da, da. IMDb trivia time.
What is it?
So, I picked one that I had never heard before, because I had heard a lot of them.
Okay. Probably because we've read it several. I feel like every time we watch this movie, we pick those, we draw them up and we look through them all. So maybe that's why. But
I think this is kind of a newbie.
Uh-oh.
So there were 10 Pee-wee's bikes made for this film. They made 10 bikes for obviously various shots or whatever.
Wait, don't tell me Steven Spielberg has one in his garage.
No, that would be the best.
Oh, God, I'd be so pissed.
He probably does. So it's this bike shop made it, and I forget. It's kind of a cool name for the bike shop. They made it, but they told the bike shop, we will either give you $10,000 or you'll get a credit in the film. Isn't that kind of bullshit? They're not. They wouldn't do both. What's $10,000?
Was it Chuck's Bike-O-Rama?
No, it wasn't Chuck's Bike-O-Rama. But
so they picked the $10,000. Yes, because I don't think there was.
There's no credit in the film, so they picked $10,000.
They didn't know what kind of success. I mean, who and where would the credit be exactly? Is it in the credits that nobody reads?
No. But now you'd be like, oh, shit, I want a bike like that. Where do you get a bike like that? And then they would get business from everyone seeing this movie and want to get a bike like that.
I guess. But, it was Tim's first movie. He wasn't...
Tim, your best friend, Tim Burton.
We are. Thank you. Why don't you tell your other trivia fact about Tim Burton?
So Tim Burton, a la Alfred Hitchcock, has a cameo in this film.
In all his movies?
I don't know about that. But
why'd you say a la Alfred Hitchcock?
Oh, so Alfred Hitchcock always put himself in his movies as a cameo. So anyway, in this one, I don't know. That's something to look up.
Maybe he is in all of them.
Because there was another I read another fact about a Hitchcocky thing in this. That sounds sexual.
I think it's Hitchcockian.
Hitchcockian. Still sounds sexual. So Tim Burton's cameo in this is the Thugs. So he's really upset. He lost his bike, whatever, and he's going to go to the fortune teller, and it's raining, and he's walking through this dark alley, and his coat's all this is Pee-wee. His coat's all over his shoulder, and he's basically foaming at the mouth like a rabid dog. And this guy comes up to him, is like hairs on his face. You can like barely see his eyes.
Giant nose.
He has a giant nose.
That.
And he goes, what does he say?
Hey man, this is our truth.
And then Pee-wee just like snarls at him, and they all go like scattering. But that's Tim Burton.
Damn, he has a giant nose.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? I think you can take a lot of lessons from this movie. Like I said to you, I suggested, if you're ever scared walking home alone at night, you should just be like Pee-wee after the meeting in the basement, very upset, and just walk like with a hunchback.
When I leave here tonight, and walk home,
and if someone mugs you, just go. So good. It's a good skill to have, I guess. Yeah. And Pee-wee's very resourceful. Like he can get out of any situation. He and Mickey almost get busted by the cops. What does he do? He whips out some disguises in his little knapsack.
He's got a wig and a crocheted sweater in that hobo bag and puts it to good use.
He has so many gadgets. Also, when he's tricking Francis's butler guy, he's knocking on the door. He's like, go away, go away. So then you hear the knock again, and the butler opens it, and nobody's there. And instead, there's another clown reference. It's a clown hand knocking on the door. I don't know how he had time to rig that up in the amount of time that was, which was maybe 5 seconds. But also, Francis's giant pool bathtub, amazing. Yeah. How bad did you want one of those?
It's so bad, and I loved all the little ships to play with, and it was just... But, like, was it a pool, or was it a bathtub?
Well, I think it was a pool.
So it was chlorine?
But it looked green. It looked kind of greeny. Like, and he had a bathing suit on, so...
Yeah.
Obviously, because you can't have, like, Francis junk in the movie.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing. So Pee-wee is supposed to be this, like, giant child, right? But he lives by himself. Not like he has parents.
This is another question. This is a similar question we had with the Chipmunks, where we're basically asking, how old are you?
How old are you? But and that was the joke.
Yeah.
It's an adult who's, like, kind of like a kid, but he is independent. He lives by himself. But then they pull in Francis, who's, like, also a giant kid. He's, like, taking baths and has a dad, but at least he has parents. And I don't know. It's
interesting.
I think that's something you're not supposed to really dig into.
Very interesting.
Why are there man-children, so many man-children in this town? And why would Dottie want to date a man-child? Why is she attracted to Pee-wee?
I don't know. She just... Remember when she was on The Voice and she auditioned? The woman who plays Dottie?
And also the voice of Tawny Pickles.
Which I should know because I just recently started watching Rugrats. Because I finished all of Doug, and now I need something else to make me feel cozy when I'm eating my meals.
Yeah.
Rugrats is it. Although, babies can get a little gross sometimes. They eat a lot of mud. But anyways, she's the voice of Tawny Pickles. She was on The Voice. She auditioned. She made it through one round, I think. But after that, I don't know. The voice is a little ageist, I have to say.
She's old now, but she's still hot. She's still hot to trot.
Yeah, she's great. Also, sad... Jan Hooks.
Yeah, Jan Hooks has a great little part in this movie that, I don't know, I feel like we had a joke always growing up where they go, Adobe. She's a tour guide at the Alamo, and it does this amazing job. She's just hilarious, and that whole scene is amazing. Pee-wee's just, like, so antsy because he wants to see the basement so bad, and he has to, like, go through the whole tour. And she's like, I'm going to say... There are 1,000 ways to use corn, and I'm going to tell you all about them right now.
It's another good scene with his facial expressions. But yeah, we did always just say the Adobe thing. Yeah. I must say, I do still say that in my head whenever I open Adobe at work to do something. I'm always like, Adobe. It's good. It's not a good quote to use in everyday life.
But R.I.P. Jan Hooks.
Oh my God.
Gone too soon.
Bless her.
Gone too soon. God, it's good. And Phil Hartman. Cameo at the end. He's a reporter.
He is?
Yes. I pointed that out when we were watching. I'm like, hey, Phil Hartman.
Oh, we'll have to rewatch that. That's crazy.
It's very, very brief.
That shit is crazy. But, oh man, I just love this movie so much. And I hope everybody has seen this.
I don't think we're even doing it justice. It's like, if you've not seen this movie right now,
I feel like I'm failing it.
I think a lot of movies we're going to talk about in this podcast, sometimes you wonder, what is that nostalgia factor? Is this movie actually good, or was it just good for you as a child, and then that sticks with you the whole time?
Pretty sure this was good.
Yes, so this is my thing. This movie, I think this is a fucking excellent film.
So good.
Everything about it is great.
So it's very well written. Mm-hmm. The humor is not... It's done in a way that's super original and not that annoying kind of gets old quickly because every joke is so different.
Yeah, there's still been nothing like it.
We didn't even talk about the basement scene. God, I love it. It's genius. There's just so many good things in this, and I think throughout my day, at least once a day, I think of this movie probably, and I laugh a little.
You got it.
Yeah.
If you have not seen this film,
you're missing out.
Please, God, for the love of God, before you die,
please
check this out.
Please,
else you will just not be a complete person.
It's true.
Do it.
I hope I hope we did justice. I don't think we did.
I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I just love it though. But we hope you people love it too. I guess that's all for today.
That's all for today, kids.
We'll talk to you next time. Talk to you later, bitches.
This is Sweetie.
And Sweetie.
And we'll catch you later. This is a Large Marge Podcast.
Large Marge Sent Us Podcast.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my God.
Morning, Pee-wee.
Look, Francis.
Today is my birthday, and my father said I can have anything I want.
Good for you and your father.
So guess what I want?
A new brain.
No, your bike. Oh, what's so funny, Pee-wee?
It's not for sale, Francis.
My father says everything's negotiable, Pee-wee.
I wouldn't sell my bike for all the money in the world. Not for $100 billion, million, trillion dollars.
Then you're crazy.
I know you are, but what am I?
You're a nerd.
I know you are, but what am I?
You're an idiot.
I know you are, but what am I?
I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I?
I know you are, but what am I? Infinity.
No, I'm not. You are. No way.
Way.
Knock it off. Cut it out. Oh, shut up, Pee-wee.
Why don't you make me?
Why don't you make me?
Because I don't make monkeys. I just train them.
Oh, Pee-wee, listen to reason. Oh, come on.
I'm listening to reason.
Pee-wee.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.